It's time for informative entertainment with Swipe and me, Wally J. This week, an insight into in vitro fertilization and everything you need to know about audio engineering. And of course, we check out the latest news in tech. IVF stands for in vitro fertilization. It's one of the more widely known forms of assistive reproductive technologies, ART for short. This happens outside the human body and in a laboratory dish. In vitro fertilization literally means fertilization in glass. We visited IVF Zimbabwe and discovered some interesting facts. Hey guys, right now we're at IVF Zimbabwe, a fertility clinic. Here with me is Mr. Tine Makumure, an embryologist. Today he's going to take us through IVF and everything and every step that comes with it. My first question is, what is IVF and why is it done?
IVF stands for in vitro fertilization, which is Latin for fertilization outside of the human body, mainly in the lab. So it's done to help couples that will be struggling to have a child by other means, natural means, as it were.
So infertility, it's a solution to infertility. What are the risks that come with it? Because yes, I've noticed that not many people opt for IVF who are struggling with infertility. So are there any fears or things people should psychologically prepare themselves for during the process?
There isn't much risk really with IVF. There isn't any sort of adverse effects that are regular, as it were. But you know, with any hospital procedure, there remains a small percentage that something untoward could happen, but we have not had any such experiences in our practice.
We would like to talk about the women at the side, what they have to go through, the preparations leading up to egg retrieval. Would you walk us through that?
It starts with some screening tests, including lab tests, to check the ovarian reserve. That is how many eggs approximately one is in store. And then, of course, that determines the drugs that they have to, the amount of drugs that they have to go through, the hormones. Then they have to go through some injections, some hormone injections for about 2 weeks or so prior to egg retrieval. Then during that time, a lot of eggs will be recruited, and then they form in follicles that can be seen under ultrasound guidance, and then from there they are ready for egg retrieval.
Usually, how many eggs does a woman produce?
Usually they produce one per cycle, that is per month.
So how many can you collect whenever they are taking these hormones and these consumables?
It variable, depends on how responsive they are or what we expect. So maybe 5, 10, 15, really going up to 20. You know, they try to make sure that they don't go beyond that. After
collection, now this is where the man comes in, right? For sperm donation, or the husband giving sperm for the wife. The collection method, if I'm not mistaken, is masturbation. But I've heard that people can opt for another way of getting the sperm. They call it testicular aspiration. I'd like to know more about that. What's the process with that? The
standard collection method, of course, you said correctly, it's masturbation. Then the option really is, if they can't do it that way, they can have normal intercourse with our own special non-spermicidal condom. Then that's how they collect semen. The testicular sperm aspiration method is not an option really. We only go for it if the husband's ejaculate has no sperm on it. So then we want to go and find out if we can get any sperm from the source, which will be the testicles.
Okay, so now that the eggs have been collected, the sperm have been collected, we now want to put them together and form an embryo, right? So at this point, can you choose the gender of the child?
Yes, you can choose the gender of the child, but it's not the priority really.
Yes,
because you know, the sperms are the ones determining the gender. So there are some Y sperms for male and X sperms for female. So there are methods to separate those sperms. So we know if one is looking for a boy, we only have those that are for boys. It's the sperms that are for boys, or for girls, only sperms that are for girls. But that's not our priority usually with the issues of subfertility or infertility, as it were.
Earlier you said that IVF is a seamlessly safe procedure. I would like to know, how many times can a woman endure IVF? How many times in a lifetime can she do this? Can she repeatedly, can she do it often?
Yeah, again, it's not one size fits all, because every woman is different, the circumstances are different. So it's about, this is why we do those tests to check the ovarian reserve, how many has she still got in her reserves. So can she go again? So all those things depends on those tests. Yes, she can go several times, some can go for several times, but then it depends on their ovarian reserve. And also, why would one want to come back for a full cycle? If the first or second cycle has gone on successfully, we are likely to have frozen some embryos for her. So she doesn't actually need to go through the whole full IVF cycle to get another child. We can rather just store the embryos and just do frozen embryo transfer, as it were.
Oh, and these frozen eggs and the frozen embryos, how long can they last? Can they survive under these conditions, like the frozen conditions? How long can they last?
We freeze them in liquid nitrogen at minus 196 degrees. So in literal terms, they could last forever, as long as there is someone who's topping up the liquid nitrogen. So, but in our case, we say up to 10 years to our patients, because of accountability's sake, who's going to be there 100 years to come. So it's about accountability sake. We say 10 years, we give them 10-year contracts. After 10 years, if there's a new team, or if the same old team, if they want to renew the contract to continue to store them, then it's up to them. Coming
back to infertility, I think for most people, they regard it as a myth. But having a place like this, we can see that infertility is something very real. How many people, or rather, how many women would you say you encounter maybe per year?
In our settings, we're getting about what? Would get about 150 to 250 in a year. Yeah, maybe up to 200, in a year, coming to our center. Yeah.
And how many successful cases would you say you've had? Or per year? How many successful cases per year?
I would definitely get over 100. It depends on the cases. We definitely get 100 plus.
I would like to know though, why is IVF so expensive?
Yes, it is expensive because of the consumables. There's so much to put in, because remember, we are trying to create an environment for the babies or the embryos that is outside of their mother's body, but pretending to be their mother's body. So there are labor expenses for that, and also there are drugs expenses for the stimulation, for the mother to produce more eggs than usual, because normally she produces one, but we want her to produce 5, 10, 15. So all those drugs involved, they are expensive. Yes, and also in the lab, it's not only expensive, they are perishable. The consumables are perishable, they expire very quickly.
Want to know some more fun facts? Well, Louise Brown, born in England 1978, was the first IVF baby to be successfully conceived outside her mother's womb. And also, did you know that twins, identical twins, are most likely to occur when you go through IVF? Well, stick around. After the break, we talk about audio engineering. Did you know that an audio engineer is not supposedly a music producer, and that a long time ago, audio equipment used to fill an entire room? Well, I had a conversation with an audio engineer and it went like this.
Just for the sake of the layman, a process whereby natural sounds are manipulated and amplified so that a larger crowd could then be able to hear, be it on-site via public address systems, or be it via broadcast like that when it's going to be transmitted. So it's always a question of manipulating sound, you know. There is a vast difference between music production and sound engineering. Let me start off with music production. Music production is basically somebody who works in the studio. And when they're working in the studio, people come in and record and make music. That means they deal with vocals in melody. They also get to work with musical instruments, be it guitars, be it drums, percussion instruments. And then a sound engineer, that is the one who then takes all those recorded elements, mixes them up, balances them up, polishes them up, compensates for certain frequency deficiencies to make it good for the consumer. Live sound engineering, the entire process can be summarized by this. Let's say most of us love the Black Forest cake. And then the Black Forest cake has got so many ingredients. On their own, all those elements, all those ingredients, they taste horrible. But when you take all those ingredients, you put them together in a bowl, then you mix them together in their proper proportions. The same concept is what happens with audio engineering. What happens, the music instruments, the vocalists, the drummers, the piano players, you name them, they're all these various ingredients, right? And then what happens is the mixer, which is at the epicenter of audio engineering, right, takes all these various elements and then puts them in their proper proportions. Like, you know, the bass guitar, as you can see, there are many channels here. This is one ingredient, another ingredient, another ingredient, another ingredient, another ingredient. So you then balance them according to your own levels. Eventually, when you get to hear it, everything is properly balanced. Is that okay? Because there are sounds that are supposed to be vivid to the ear, and there are sounds that are not meant to be heard but felt. And the mixer does that. When all the sounds have come into the mixer, they then go out of the mixer into an amplifier. The amplifier acts as the oven, right? So the oven then, puts the heat, ndopane power, whereby all the power is added, amplified, made bigger, you know what I'm saying? And just like in the oven, if there's too much heat, the amplifier and the speakers get blown. And the same thing also when there's too much heat in the oven, the cake gets bent. Right, it's the same thing. So from the amplifier, then to the speakers is basically the serving bowl for your cake. And then you guys as the consumers can then get to hear what has been going down. Let me just start off with live sound. There were huge speakers that were designed in order to cater for large crowds. I would really love to see Mr. McIntosh and the Danley, the guys who put together the system for the Woodstock Festival. It was back in 1969, right? But it spun over an entire weekend, starting on a Friday, and there were almost 500,000 people back then. But when you look at it, the technology wasn't really available then. You understand? But if you listen to the sound, the recordings that were made, much of those recordings supersede by far what we then produce today. With gear, as we call it in the field, equipment has become smaller over the years. Way back in the day, a studio monitor, as you see like this, used to be way big. Now they've become smaller. Even if you look at back in the early 80s, there's a company called Black Giant, which was being run by a gentleman called Cedric Steele. There are these huge bass bins that were this big. Nowadays, a bass bin can be almost like this. If you look at the Cohedra system, which uses 10-inch compression drivers, small little cabinet like this, but it can push the kick of a bass drum through an entire system, through an entire stadium, and it's quite small, you understand? There are no structures per se, a governing body to say, okay, whenever there is an international artist coming, the only people who have got gear to supply this is 1, 2, 3, 4. If it's not this, like this, no event is going to happen. In South Africa, structures are like that. There is no aspect of noise pollution, which is also an aspect of sound engineering. The city council once put out a thing, a warning to houses of worship that don't make noise. But my question is, none of them understand how to measure loudness of sound, the SPL, the threshold of sound. None of them understand the dispersion of sound, even in committees. None of them understand acoustics for the sound. People think that taking cushions and foam rubber and putting on the walls is acoustics, is sound treatment. That doesn't help, because there's a question of phase, there's a question of standing waves, there's a question of projection, there's a question of sound dispersion. There's a whole lot of aspects that come into play when dealing with sound.
It's interesting to see that some buildings are actually designed and built with sound in mind. Now we know that audio engineering isn't just working a PA system. Hey guys, welcome back to Swipe. I am here with Valentine and Ed. So I want to talk to you guys about a certain type of liquid that we all love, that we all enjoy having on our phones, and that's Liquid Home. Valentine, tell me, Liquid Home, how does it work?
So Liquid Home is basically Zoll. It's Zimbabwe Online. They rebranded Liquid Home. So they have this cool thing called Africa Hub Passport, I don't know what it is. So it basically allows you to use your internet at home anywhere. So you could go to a mall, for example, and they've got a hotspot, they've got a receiver. Then you just enter your credentials and you can use your data from home. So it's cool because it also works abroad.
Abroad, like other countries, not just in Zim?
No, yeah, other countries. So in South Africa or Tambo, they should have one, because the last time I was there, I used my Zoll data while out and about.
It's uncapped, right?
Oh, it wasn't uncapped.
Yeah.
I was broke.
It wasn't?
No, I was broke. Like
You were broke,
my
okay.
payment plan was.
But I can use my home Wi-Fi or, whatever bundle or package I have, and I can use it, let's say in SA, you were saying in South Africa. So how does a person using Zoll and Zim use their Zoll data in SA? Like how do they link? You said a passport?
It's like so it's basically using your credentials, your internet credentials, in a access point abroad. So it's just linking back to your account in Zim.
Oh, okay.
You're not technically using South African internet. Or I mean, you are, but you're not.
But
using,
then you're not using
data. It's
at their expense.
Yeah, at their expense.
It's at your expense.
At your expense.
From your original
like,
account. So
think of it like insurance, like international insurance. When you get hurt abroad, it'll cover you because you paid in Zim to cover you internationally. So same principle.
Okay, you were saying they need certain credentials, your internet credentials. That's your login and your PIN?
You can create a profile for, it used to be called Vibronics on the Go, or Vibronics on the Go. You can create a profile in the My Zoll app, which is now the My Liquid Home app. So you create a profile and then use those details to log in.
Oh, so just the profile, or there's another alternative?
I don't think there's another alternative.
Oh, okay.
I've only created a profile in the app. So you just create a password and then you use it.
Okay, and is the profile, is it secure?
Oh, yeah.
Let's say I'm a doctor. I still have patients in South Africa. I want to operate on those patients. Like, you guys have heard of that, right? How scientists and doctors, have come up with a way of actually, you can maybe open someone up and, sew their liver together. That's even a thing. How does something like that work?
So it primarily rests on some sort of connectivity, an internet sort of connectivity. So you have a machine, or if we're going to go the gaming route, you can have something like a controller and a monitor. And from there, this machine is remotely connected to the actual machine handling the operation on the patient. So what you then do is you're just controlling it from a remote place, from a remote location. So that's been pretty much the biggest craze in 5G, because 5G is said to have a very small response time. So if I am to do something here right now, the time it takes for that action to happen remotely is a very, very short space of time. So it is good in terms of, responding to what you're doing and being as accurate as you can whilst you're operating. And it's something they call ping. So that's ping, yes.
Ping.
P-I-N-G.
Sounds like sounds like that thing on Apple Watches when you ping
Yes.
your iPhone. I saw a clip, not a clip, but then I saw like a picture of like a scientist, a doctor doing operation. Well, not him, the machine operating on a grape, and like peeling the grape. Like, how do you peel a grape? Like, that is accuracy, peeling a grape.
It just goes as a testament to just how good technology in the space has become. So technology in the sense of the communication side of it, but also being able to handle such precise operations with a machine.
The videos I've seen so far are really encouraging. Like Ed was saying, it's like the delicate operations are the most complicated ones. So if it can do peeling a grape, that's basically like a small skin graft. So it can complete those little operations. I don't know if they've gone further than that, but I'll be curious to see what they do with it. But obviously not in Zimbabwe's internet, because Magitani and Hawaii. Yeah.
Okay, I just had the way to start while you guys were talking. Can you 3D print inside a human being?
Inside a human being?
Yeah, like you take maybe you insert a 3D printing machine or a smaller one, and then you 3D print. Why do I always come back
My
to
boy-
kidneys? Why do I always
Science
come back to
My boy
kidneys?
loves science fiction. Like, he loves the science fiction.
No, it was just a strange thought. Like, imagine actually 3D printing in a human. Let's talk about sound. I was thinking of the quietest room in the world. How does it work? Like, I heard that you literally can hear yourself.
There's nothing bouncing off the wall. So sound is just basically, sound traveling and bouncing off. So there's nothing to bounce off of. It's just
Okay.
going dead. So they use acoustic foam, acoustic panels to map the room out to be able to absorb as much sound as it can.
How thick do you think the foam could be?
I mean, it's pretty thick. The room is quite chunky.
Thick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
C's.
2 C's.
Yeah, with 2 C's. Okay, cool. And the panels, the type of panels, the panels are before the thick foam or after the thick foam?
I don't know if it's a mixture of panels, but what I saw was mostly acoustic foam or acoustic material. I don't know if it's foam, but it's material that absorbs sound waves really well, and it's everywhere. So you get your normal panels, and you get your bass traps in the corner. So it's just trying to make the room as nothing that you say or do can run around the room like in this room we're in right now. That you can hear the reverb and the echo and stuff like that. So imagine without that. Things you were ignoring, like your heartbeat and stuff, you can now hear it.
Whoa, wait, can you hear blood?
I have no idea. I haven't
Okay,
been
but
there.
definitely a heartbeat would be creepy.
Imagine going into that room blindfolded, like a sensory deprivation tank. That'd be crazy though. That'd be fun.
No, not for me.
Why not?
I can't go in a room like that blindfolded.
Just 5 minutes.
5 minutes. I don't think I can do 5 minutes in there. Because I'm not imagine making it like small and then putting someone who's claustrophobic in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the worst.
Your mind works in very interesting ways.
Yeah.
But
That would be cool for torture though. Yeah.
I mean, how do
I'm
we
not
get
trying
here?
to give Putin ideas.
apart from torture,
Okay,
there's
apart
some
from-
very good uses for.
Yeah.
for
Wait, what are the good uses for that?
So there is so a lot of equipment that needs to work with sound is tested in there. So like noise cancelling earphones or headphones, they'll be put in there, and then they'll have like a doll that has mics in its ears. And so they'll play something within the room, and then the mics have to pick up whatever it is that's going on through the headphones to improve the noise cancelling capabilities of those. So it's really stuff that has to do with engineering a device to a point where it sounds as best as it can, and you can only be able to achieve that in a room where you control the noise that you're putting into it.
I would like to know a little more about sound. Okay, what's the first song you've ever heard with 3-dimensional sound?
There are actual playlists on YouTube that I would listen to which had like 3D sound. So yeah, I guess those were the first ones. An accurate one would be when Dolby released something around the spatial audio thing, and it was just a video on YouTube where they test it out and show you how it works.
Yeah, I think that's something a lot of people should try out. I'm gonna try that out definitely. Thank you, Valentine. Thank you, Ed. This has been Swipe. Keep swiping. Join us next time for another spectacular episode.